Coming at you live from DNHQ in beautiful South Pasadena, California. This is the Blue Heaven Podcast. What's going on, Dodgers Nation? I don't think I'm legally allowed to disperse my name. You know, there's a lockout.
We're not employed by them. You know that, right?
My name is Clint. You can find me as Real FRG on Twitter and Instagram.
And my name is Brooke, and you can find me crying in a closet for the rest of the winter break because there's no baseball and there's no happiness, and you know, it's cold outside.
Yeah.
What else? What other reasons are there? There's no baseball. There's no Spaces.
I don't know if Spaces is working or not. If it is, cool.
Because Jack Dorsey retired or whatever.
Man, Jack.
Is his last name Dorsey, or just make that up?
I think that's it.
His name's Jack. Whatever. Guys, on today's show, well, first podcast since the lockout is official, so that's great. Happy anniversary. Lockout. I don't know. Things suck. We'll talk a little bit about Rob Manfred and why we hate him so much, because that's always a crowd pleaser.
I hate that, man.
That girl's a real crowd pleaser.
I hate that, man. We're going to talk about the broken stove 2021 because the hot stove is closed, at least for a little while. But there were some moves. There was one big move since we were last here, and it's the move I've been asking for since the start of the offseason. Chris Taylor will be back with your Dodgers. Seager's trying to lure Kershaw to Texas. Insert the
what?
You know, got to make that YouTube thumbnail. We have some Hall of Fame talk on Gil Hodges with our friend Mark Langill. There's a giveaway. There's a whole lot more. So stay tuned. Thanks for hanging out. Before we get into the show, we got to remind you this is a podcast. So if you can't make the live show, you could always listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, Pandora, Player FM, everywhere your podcasts are available for free. We live there. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/DodgersNationTV. Hit that bell, and you'll know right when we go live, and everything is better.
Everything will be so much better because life sucks, and it's all pain, guys. Don't forget that. It's very encouraging around the holidays. If you guys haven't noticed, this is when I really come to life. Guys, don't forget this is a live show. We're doing this every Monday, even if there's no baseball for the rest of our lifetime. We'll still be doing this every Monday. I don't know what we'll talk about 10 years from now when there's no baseball still, but
we're going to be like those guys.
We'll be like them. Yeah, for sure.
Eventually, I think we should just start recycling old run of shows.
And just see if anybody notices.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
Like Wander eBay coming back from the IL. DL. The DL.
Back then it was the DL. So guys, don't forget to jump into the stream. Let us know where you're repping Dodgers Nation tonight, where you're hanging out. A couple people jumping into the chat early on. I think I saw Katie Dixon said, "What's up? It's finally my first time catching this live." Katie, welcome. Good to see you.
Good to
see you.
Meets.
Yeah.
Josh Gitt's getting ahead of us. It says, Rob Manfred is the most incompetent commissioner in the history of sports. It is truly amazing that someone can be as tone deaf as he is. Oof, he is bad. He is real bad. He's a different kind of bad, and I enjoy how bad he is. Matthew Smith says, bring in Freddie Freeman. All right, I'm on board. I got like $20.
Like for the podcast?
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like a good podcast guest, to be honest with you.
The Brittany mic would cover some of his teeth.
He's got big teeth.
You know what they say about
good big teeth.
You know what they say about big teeth?
He's got Hollywood teeth, man. He's already ready.
Swag Daddy McGee asking, so is Gary going to stream the show 2022 next year when there's no season? Look, don't even make that joke, okay? Because probably now.
Because we have to do that.
It me, your boy. No, there's going to be a season. There's always a reason to be positive. Although my fake positivity has been really like just wrong all off season. It feels like.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm gonna go with
you're missing. You got to
go with instinct.
Huh?
Yeah, instinct. It's instinct time. Let's see. Dave Luna, will we throw batteries at Scherzer now? We'll talk a little bit about Max Scherzer in a bit. Apparently, I am a Bauer fanboy. Thank you. I guess you missed the last year of shows. But win in Rome, YOLO, as the kids say. Joseph has never actually watched us live. Thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate that. Again, you know, if you want, share us. That'd be cool. If Spaces is working, I don't know if it is, but if it is working, guys, and you want to join in the conversation, we're not going to take any live callers, but do join us on the chat, and you could have some fun. Maybe or maybe not.
Spaces is definitely not working.
Hell yeah. Still got it, baby.
Crushing it.
There was an attempt. It was on, and then it like stopped.
Gary,
so.
we tried.
Yeah. I don't know. It was being kind of weird, but top story for your baseball. It's not really your Dodgers, but it's for your baseball. The bad thing happened. It was the thing we knew. What was going to happen. It happened, and the team owners have locked out the players. It's two sides continue to argue about money. The thing that we knew was going to happen for the last 3, 4, 5 years since the last time they did one of these like mid CBA updates. So what changes right now? There will be no player movement, as we saw. Hey, it was fun. It was fun when we saw every player and their sister in headlines and in rumors and all that kind of stuff. But now it's gone. No trades, no signings. At least at the big league level, there will be some player movement at the minor league level, but it's not really exciting.
No, yeah, it's better for baseball when there's baseball.
Hey,
that's what I've heard. But
attaboy.
Players don't have access to team facilities. They have to go home. They can't rehab technically at team facilities. They can rehab on their own.
Shout out Dustin May.
That really sucks. If you're like going through a serious injury right now and you're trying to bounce back for next season, this is a really bad time for there to be a lockout because that's going to set you back a little bit.
Yeah,
him being one of those guys.
I think there should be. I'm sure the teams are like set them up as best as they can,
and there will 100% be contact still, even though it's not technically allowed.
Elijah's saying that's so dumb. It is incredibly dumb, just the way
everything is handled.
They're all technically unemployed right now.
No, yeah, they are legally unemployed right now.
Really weird. Did you see Alex Vessier, who was asking people what to do on his new Twitch channel? He's like, since I'm unemployed.
He's like, I don't have a job, so what should I do? And they were like, stream.
But it's bad, it's stupid, and again, it's all about money. I often have lazily said it's billionaires fighting millionaires. It's not inaccurate. If it was millionaires, we wouldn't be here. Most of the league does not make anywhere near the millions, and they want the owners want to continue to try to take advantage of. Really, it's the majority of players. It's the young players. It's the less than 3, 4 year players that they can pay dirt cheap. I would be happy to play baseball for $600,000 or whatever, but that's 50. Me. I'll take $20 and a 6-pack. Mm-hmm. We're good to go. But the revenue in baseball has gone up to just atmospheric levels over the last 5-10 years. There are no problems making money in the game, but player salaries haven't. The biggest names in the league get the Max Scherzer type of deals. They get the Corey Seager type of deals. They're making 30, maybe 40 million now. I'm not going to do it. The 40 million, thanks to one guy, in his agent's opinion. But those are the only people. Everybody else, again, they're getting the cheaper money. They won't even pay for like if it was now and Andre Ethier was getting that contract that Ned Colletti got, he wouldn't get that kind of deal. He wouldn't get something that was going to pay him $16 million a year or even 12. I don't know, man. I'm all over the place. It's really dumb. I hate it. Give me your thoughts on that real quick. Go ahead.
That's all you got about it? It's dumb and you hate it? It's unfortunate. It's there's a lot on the table. There's a lot to be discussed. And if we learned anything from the actual meetings that they've had in the weeks leading up to the official lockout, it's that there was no intention of getting a deal done before. Mm-hmm. Absolutely zero intention of getting a deal done before. The general sense has been the owners feel like they're in a place where they can hold out and further negotiate with the players because they think they hold a ground on them. They think that players will get desperate and be like, hey, we got to play. We have to play. And the owners feel good about that, which is why they had, I think their last meeting was literally like 7 minutes long. Yeah. It's like, hey, we're locking out tonight. And they're like, 7 minutes. Everybody grab their coffee, grab their donuts. Let's get the hell out of here. We're not doing this today. So they've shown, both sides have shown no willingness to change anything so far. And obviously, it's still early on in the process, I guess, if you want to call it that. We're just a few days locked out, but it doesn't exactly give you hope. It doesn't inspire a lot of hope that they're going to get a deal done in time. Because, in time, realistically, is coming up.
Yeah, in time is it's a fluid statement in a way, because is in time opening day? Yeah, they could probably get that done. Although we saw the arguments from them trying to ramp up the COVID season, and that was ugly. And that took Manfred just deciding to set a schedule, and people went and played and got their full salaries. The owners didn't want to pay the players their full salaries last year as best they could, or 2 years ago now. in time for spring training. That's another one. And I think there will be a decent amount of spring training. That's me.
Diego says this podcast talks a lot about nothing. Diego, I would talk about your mom, but I didn't want to do that on live. I didn't want to put you on blast like that. That's my bad, brother.
All right, Diego, what do you want us to talk about? All these great headlines going on in the game of baseball. You want to talk about
all the fake trade rumors that he's seen populate on Facebook or whatever? He thinks that Carlos Correa signed yesterday for somehow. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Some people's kids.
I just accidentally sicked everybody on Diego. That's my bad, dog.
Yeah, crush him.
My power.
Use your power. That's a new retweet feature. The other thing, though, like if it does get to the point where it's we call on time by spring training, there are still a dumb amount of free agent players that don't have contracts, including Carlos Correa. Sorry, Diego. Those deals need to happen. They can't happen right now, but things need to come together to make deals happen before they go and play teams and all that kind of stuff. Yes, right, meow over me.
Yep. Not to mention the fact that when it actually is negotiated, the deal's agreed upon, it's signed, it's in writing, whatever. A free agency period then opens back up, and it's going to be a freaking frenzy. If you thought NBA free agency was wild, just imagine, let's say a deal gets signed in February, first week of February somehow, which I still don't even think we make it by then. But let's say that happens. You have 2 weeks until pitchers and catchers report, and then how many signings happen in that period? It's going to be nuts because realistically, there are a lot of names out on the board still. A lot of big names, but just a lot of names out on the board just in general. It's going to be chaos.
It really is.
And a lot of those guys could be coming at a discount because of this.
Yeah,
because it's going to be so last minute.
And if it does hit that point where it's a discount, the unions get to push back even more and not agree to anything the owners and the league want to do. So the worst case scenario, we might not have a 2022 season. I don't think it'll get there. I think there's enough on the table where they can just be like, all right, whatever, we're going to plug this in again and we're going to go, and the players will eventually, be forced, thanks to this lockout. They're going to have no choice but to just, smile and wave and accept it. Or
I'll be a scab. I'm down to be a scab. I got no shame.
Of the other things they're fighting for the stupid rules, the pace of play stuff. They want the 15-second clock, pitch clock. They want bigger bases, and there are really dumb things they have mixed in there. I think that the league is more so putting those aside for now while they try to get these quote core economics straightened out. But of the better things, of the smarter things, and it was going to happen either way. They had no choice. MLB has offered to remove that direct draft pick compensation, the qualifying offer thing. So that's a big thing for the players' side. I'm aware nobody likes baseball economic talk, but this is where we're at in the offseason. So if you don't enjoy it, everybody Snapchat us some money and we'll talk about whatever you want. But
Snapchat us some money.
You
gotta join my OnlyFans and tip me.
Another thing they're a part on is expanded playoffs, because the league wants more money, the owners want more money, and how else are they going to get it? They're going to get it with expanded playoffs. They want 14-team playoffs, which is terrible. I hate it. You shouldn't have half of baseball in the postseason. That's not exactly cool. And the Players Association has said, okay, we'll go as high as 12. It's a 10-team postseason right now. 12. Okay, you're adding one more, and then it becomes like the 2020 postseason. You got to win 13 games or whatever. Another thing the owners really want is to put stupid patches on the uniforms, like sponsor patches, so we can get the crypto.com Dodgers.
We should go full NASCAR. Every square inch of real estate is just an advertisement. It's like M&M's, Budweiser. Yeah.
Is NASCAR or something like that with the football? Just about, aren't they whole ass sponsored teams?
Yeah, but then basketball has the one. Hockey, I think hockey even has the one now too. I don't know. I don't watch that sport. It's on ice. I only watch it when I can drink there.
Yeah, it's the whole thing. So loud there though, man.
At the games?
Yeah, like Kings game. It's just we really want you to be excited.
Oh yeah, they turn
Yeah, everything's just so loud. It's screaming at you.
They're like, white people, be louder, please.
Another one of the things, universal DH. Joe asked, does anybody want the DH? I think we've hit a point where everybody is cool with the universal DH. It's another way to get players more money too.
I'm pretty sure it's a foregone conclusion at this point.
It is a conclusion.
Very much seems like it's 100% going going to be a part of the new plan, and I don't think anybody's going to argue against it now. I think 2020 was the turning point for everybody. Everybody was like, oh yeah, we should have a universal DH. Why do we have pitchers hit? Even for me, I was like, why the hell are we having pitchers hit?
It's a good thing they brought it back in 2021 for some very, very stupid reason.
Thank God.
Jen asks, the postseason bracket, or says the postseason bracket needs to be adjusted. I 1,000% agree.
It's garbage.
It's garbage.
This year's more than anything proved that.
This really needs to be the year.
Really screwed it up.
Are they smart enough to figure that out? No, because the league is commissioned by Rob Manfred.
How do you feel about the
terrible.
That situation where the top seed picks their first opponent?
I don't like that.
I don't either. No, don't like that.
Shouldn't just be like
I
standard.
don't like
top
it.
seed plays low seed, and you kind of keep meeting in the middle.
Diego says, well, it takes you guys 15 minutes to get going. That's how long it takes me to finish, too. You know what I'm saying, Diego? What's good, baby?
Ask your mom.
Yep. Diego, this is a bad place to get dunked on, man. You can't hurt me. I have no emotions.
See, it's a live stream. You want people to join, to have time to join. You know, maybe they need to put down your mom. It's so bad. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. All right, I'm done engaging with the trolls. Outside of you. DM says, I think Diego is hangry. Is this true? Have a Snickers. Manfred, terrible human, probably. Bad commissioner. He gets to be the guy that upended 26 years of labor peace.
Someone's got to do it. Every party's got a pooper. That's what my mom always said.
Did she specifically say it to you though?
Yeah, it was me. I was always the pooper.
I could see you being that guy.
Yep.
Poupier, if you will. But he muffed the Astros thing.
Ass muffin. Yep.
They had the loaded baseballs, and now there turns out there was 2 different types of baseballs in 2021, and there was some sort of
controversy
there. The spider tack got out of control and spin rate and all this other crap. All of this happened under his stewardship. I don't know, man. We've seen some bad people in leagues. We've seen bad commissioners in different leagues. We've also seen probably the best commissioner, Adam Silver. Can he just come do baseball? I don't know. I didn't set that up well. I just really want Adam Silver to come be my commissioner.
That's it. That's what it's all come down to is you want Adam Silver to come over. I take Roger Goodell over Rob Manfred, and that's really saying something because how many commissioners get booed every time they announce a draft pick for all the rounds, every round that he's a part of?
Man, he's really just going everywhere and getting booed these days.
I like how he just leans into it, though.
Yeah.
He just knows. He's like, everyone hates me.
As he stutters through his little speech jammer thing right
I like
there.
I like the in the pandemic year when he was just sitting in his lazy boy announcing it. I was like, all right, Roger, this is a good way to lean into it. I like this.
Oh, breaking. Jesus is the commissioner now.
That's Jesus.
Listen. Tired of your filth around here. You, not Jesus. Raphael says, what sponsor patch would be best for the Dodgers jersey? Wrong answers only. Ooh. Tinder.
What sponsor patch would be best for the Dodgers jersey?
But it's wrong answers. I want it to be Tinder.
Wrong answers only.
Yeah.
I follow now.
You got one? I got Tinder.
You got Tinder? Oh, man, I don't know. That's pretty hard to top.
Grinder.
Grinder app would be good on there. It's got to be an app. I feel like it has to be an app.
Aren't they all apps these days?
I don't know.
Can it be an NFT? Can the patch be an NFT? Oh, how do they all wear it?
Oh, you can only wear one on each jersey.
It's the future, guys. NFTs are a thing. That's what I'm going with. I'm going with Tinder just because I want to see a major, well, I mean, I guess it's the wrong answer because I don't want to actually
Trojan.
see that.
There you go. Trojan.
Oh, man. Angels could be sponsored by Hoover because they suck. Thank you. So what comes next? How does this affect the start of the season? Well, we don't know. We're not that smart, but neither are they.
The Clippers are sponsored by Bumble. Is that real?
Oof.
I didn't know that.
Rest in peace.
Astroglide.
There's a... Huh? Astroglide?
AJ said Astroglide. That's good.
There's a decent amount of time to still make something work, but they really need to have a solid drop dead date to make this happen. And the owners are going to need to make some concessions here. Same way the players are no, undoubtedly, but they have made concessions for decades. This time, it needs to be the owner's side. You know, if you're making, what was it, the last time it was like reported or whatever, the league made, $10 billion in profits in 2019 or whatever it is. I think you can throw a little more money around. And, you know, there's other things in there with like the revenue sharing and teams tanking and whatever. Teams tanking is terrible for the sport, but I don't know, man. Like, people still watch it.
Baseball's good.
Baseball.
Even if you hate baseball, it's still good.
But the owners can't afford to miss games. They cannot afford to have the league locked out or to miss any regular season for sure. So they're going to have to cave at some point. The league also doesn't want this to kind of air. You know, not everybody knows what's happening. When the season ends, you're going to get the regular fan, all the other fair weather fans that tune in just for the postseason. You know, they're not going to know what's happening until it starts to get into the season, and then it starts to get into the big news stories where it's like, oh, MLB can't get out of its own way or whatever. You know, Los Angeles Dodgers, you know, something stupid like that. Anyway.
Your mother died?
God damn it.
We only have inside jokes here. That's why no one likes this.
Oh, God. All right, enough of that. Let's do a giveaway and let's have something else fun. Guys, we're back with our friends over at Elite Sports Collectibles, as you know, and today we are announcing the winner of this sweet, amazing, spectacular, I think I have him lined up right. Nope, wrong one. The winner of this Cody Bellinger autographed baseball. It is autographed by Cody Bellinger. That's why it's an autographed Cody Bellinger baseball. And the winner is... You have a winner?
Sammy Reyes. That's at Sammy's Grill Out on Instagram.
Oh.
Sammy's Skrill Out. Sammy's Grill Out? Sammy's Grill Out.
Let us know in the comments below. Yep. Next, some of you guys might have already saw it. We are teaming up with our friends at Elite Sports Collectibles on Instagram to give away a married man right here. You know, by the way, congrats, Cody. Just became a daddy, finally.
He still hasn't figured that out yet. Guys, his house.
But Mookie Betts just got married, and now we're giving away his ball. Guys, you can enter to win an autographed Mookie Betts baseball. It's authenticated. It's all that kind of delicious stuff. The best way to go and win it, the only way to go and win it, go on our Instagram page at Dodgers Nation. You're going to see a post. Make sure you're following our friends at EliteSC_Unlimited. Tag 3 friends. You know, mash that heart button on there, and we're going to announce the winner next week. And, you know, have a good time.
Allegedly.
One of these days we'll win.
We can't.
Well, now you tell me.
But I've been commenting left and right.
All right, this will be the fun stuff for you savages out there. Cold stove, hot stove talk. Somebody forgot to pay the gas bill. There is no stove right now. We're... I don't know what we're on. Space
Stoveless.
heater. Yeah.
Candles.
Put it out. Yeah, there. Candle your breakfast. Since we were last here, the Dodgers brought back, probably the most important move of the offseason. They brought back Chris Taylor. So let's our Christ and Taylor comes back at a 4-year, $60 million deal. There's a 5th-year option that adds another 13. There's some escalators in there that could get that option as high as like $14 million or whatever. But really good deal for the Dodgers, all things considered. He could have been a dude who, got lots of the money, but he wanted to stay home.
Could have made more. Absolutely could have made more on an annual average basis at least.
Could have made more.
Absolutely could have. So thanks, Mary.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you for roping him in. You can break up with him at any point now. We don't care anymore.
Love that woman. No, she seems very nice.
She's probably too good for him, honestly. And he's a good guy. He's a good guy. But she's smart. She's a lawyer girl, right? That's her job. She's like a lawyer.
I don't know.
I think she's like a lawyer or something. I don't know what she does, but she's important. And she
now
made him stay. So thank you.
Taylor's a deadbeat with no job.
No, he doesn't have a job. He's just surfing. That's all he's doing. No, that was a huge... I mean, I don't think either of us actually predicted him coming back to the team in our predictions officially.
No, I mean, I said it like early in the offseason and even into the season.
We both said it after Seager got signed.
But no, because I was like, I've said he was the most important dude to come back, that needed to come back. But also was like, I don't think he's coming back. I think I had him going to the Phillies, if I'm not mistaken. But
I did not see that low of a contract.
Yeah.
Because I thought in my mind he was going to get a 590 easily, and he probably did have that option available to him, honestly. He probably did have that somewhere else.
The price you pay for comfort, and sometimes that price is less. And here, here's a nice house, whether they're in Manhattan Beach, whatever it is. His woman is happy. He's close to nice surf areas. He's in a good spot.
California's nice.
He's a happy boy.
That's much better than going to freaking Arlington, Texas. I'll tell you that right now.
So
Corey.
you lose Siegs, but you do sign probably the most important guy. I think of all the things that happened around this Chris Taylor contract, the most like the fuck moment, the one that came like completely out of nowhere. You guys remember there was a player, it was a Dodger player back in the day. His name was Gary Sheffield. Well, he had a kid, and
unfortunately,
he's a horribly unknown person. Apparently, he's basically just a troll on the internet, and I'm hoping at some point, like, if Gary Sheffield Jr. comes after me, that's a sad and pathetic. That shows how sad and pathetic his life is. Like, you instigated the trolling. Now I'm talking about you, but you need to come and find this. Somebody needs to tag you. You need to decide to come and find this and try to, talk shit to me in my DMs or send his army of cucks after me, whatever it is. But dipshit over here, he's questioning the Chris Taylor contract. It says, he tweets, when the Dodgers give Chris Taylor an extension, but not Gary Sheffield, who hit 325 and 43 homers. There's a big difference in the era, for one.
Ownership, money, availability, future. Like, there's just so many different things
20
that
years
play a
apart.
role into this. Like, what a dumbass thing to say. And people are like, this has nothing to do with this. And he's like, it has more to do with it than you think. And I'm like, what do you think you know? Like, you rode your dad's fame to fame, and you're not even famous. I would be really, it would be great. I would just love this so much. If I could not work hard at all and not do anything and just ride off of other people's successes for my entire life. I really wish I could do that. They said, you know what, Gary Sheffield Jr., blue check mark. Why not? You're verified. You want a job somewhere? Well, you're not really good at anything you do, so we're going to put you in the back of everything else. But you're noteworthy. We'll call it that. Love that. Love that you can just ride somebody else's success and not do anything in life and just be a jackass online. Because that kid, absolute idiot. Top to bottom, absolute idiot. If he wants to square up, I'll square up with him too.
Ooh, here it is.
Sheffield Jr., this is the YouTube fight.
Oh.
This is sponsored by Grindr? I don't know.
I'm in.
Modelo?
Whoever gives us money. But it's, you're trying too hard, my guy. That's it. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say.
Internet's not that hard, Chief.
You know what I love? I love how Shaq is like, I'm rich. My kids aren't rich. I'm rich.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just one of these situations.
My kids ain't rich. I'm rich. That's the exact Shaq. Yeah.
So,
as he has a water bottle this big.
Word to your mother, Sheffield Jr. Moving on. The Rangers made the signing of Corey Seager official since we were last doing this thing a week ago, who, in an interview, revealed that he's reached out to Clayton Kershaw, but in the most Corey Seager way. He's like, I've talked to him. But it's the offseason and there's no baseball happen, so we get to run wild with that. Some people did. Did you cry?
About Corey?
No, about Corey saying that he's talked to Kershaw about trying to sign him with the Rangers.
No. I didn't even think about it at
What,
all.
you don't think Corey Seager has that kind of pull?
No. I don't think he cares enough.
No, he really doesn't.
Absolutely does not. Side note. Corey. You look a little dead in the introduction press conference. It's his face, but he looked exceptionally dead.
Well, he did lose his soul signing for a lot of money.
He sold out harder than Jay-Z, dude. Big time.
I guess that works. I guess that's more accurate. Dave Vassay, who's is going off on the radio this offseason as a quote insider. Yeah, hey, I'm going to play the Dave Vassay route right. I love Dave. I'm just dicking around. This is all purely for fun. Dave, keep doing your thing, David. But, I just had Margaret Thatcher call me and President Obama, and he said he's really enjoying the show. He called me right now.
What did Margaret Thatcher say?
Keep killing it, YOLO swag.
That's my purse. I don't know you.
Anyway, Vassay said that Seager had a contract offer similar from the Dodgers, but that the players' union pressured him to take the bigger money deal because, you know, it's about setting precedent for more money for players in the future and all that kind of stuff. It's not implausible.
But are we buying it?
No.
No.
Does not pass.
I don't have any money. I can't buy it.
Does not pass the sniff test. But still, it was just a thing. Wanted to bring that up because why not? Does the Kershaw thing pass any sniff test? You got the scared test. We've established it doesn't pass the sniff test. I guess that's about it.
I think the conversation happened, but why not? Because they're already teammates with the Dodgers. There's obviously a connection there in Texas. Maybe he's like, hey, what are you thinking about coming to Texas? And Kershaw was like,
Kershaw's like, I live here.
Or maybe he was like, absolutely, I'm going to play for the Rangers because I would really like to not win games for the rest of my career. Doesn't add up for me, folks. Doesn't add up for me. And you can say whatever you want about what the Rangers are doing right now, but they still do not have better than a third-place team in the AL West right now, and that's saying something.
What are you talking about, man? They also signed John Gray, you know, notorious ace. So take with that what you will.
I'll take Josiah Gray over John Gray.
By the way, congrats to Clayton Kershaw, who had baby number 4.
How are we feeling about the name Chance? Isn't that a dog name?
Also my dude. Jimmy Up. Yeah.
My guy. You got to stop having kids.
They just had the other one
You got like 13 of them?
3 weeks ago. My Lord.
How come these players, I mean,
he's going to need that Texas money.
He's approaching Phillip Rivers numbers quickly.
At least it's all from the same woman, you know. Respect. We're going to have some fun with this one. Another
Homeward bound.
But yeah, bless up. Another former Dodger was introduced to his new team this last week after signing a massive deal. And he said some questionable things. We figured with him it would be like a maybe. Like, you knew you'd get nothing out of Seager because Seager is just the most just dry human I think we've ever seen play baseball.
Yeah.
But Max Scherzer, he decided to put a lot of the blame on the Dodgers for his own shortcomings in October. So to borrow from Jim Rome, Max Scherzer, what up? Well, how did he say it again? He said because they were trying to limit his pitch count. And by the way, our Doug McCain did a whole breakdown video on our YouTube channel, so make sure you check that out. Subscribe while you're there, youtube.com/DodgersNationTV. But he did a breakdown of some of the numbers, and, the numbers do not back up what Max Scherzer was pulling out of his ass when he was introduced to media in New York. He threw more pitches per start with the Dodgers than he did with the
Nats.
He did earlier in the season. He threw more innings this year than he did with the Nats in 2019. Another shout out to Vassay for pointing out the fact that, or reminding us of the fact that there were about 3 starts in the middle of his 11-start run where he had the hamstring issues and he pulled himself from the game early.
Right.
He pretty much forced his way to closing out that game 5.
Right.
And he's also 37 now, not 34, 35-ish like he was back in 2019. But he's like, in 2019. He keeps talking about that 2019.
When also notably wasn't particularly exceptional throughout the course of the entire playoffs. Was pretty decent in the championship series. Appeared, I think, twice in that series, but I mean, there was nothing noteworthy about it that would suggest like, hey, the Dodgers screwed up or didn't. It just seemed like a really odd thing to me.
Yeah, you could have
just on your way out. Like, let me just throw everybody else under. You already got the contract, bro. Like, you already got the money. You don't need to trash anybody for it. You don't need to defend yourself. Like, we know we got your money.
I think it's one of those things where he panicked and leaned into the narrative of everybody always says, oh, the Dodgers don't let their pitchers pitch, and
notably
that kind of
not a very good interviewer. This is Max Scherzer. He does
unless he's drunk.
He does kind of stumble into things a little bit sometimes. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt there.
So he's got a future as a podcaster.
I stumble into everything. I don't even listen to what I say. I've never heard myself say anything. Jose Rod over on YouTube
point.
throws us $4.99 on the super chat. Thank you. Says, I smell complete BS with him. Dude just made a pit stop here. He purposely didn't pitch because he wanted to save himself for another payday. I don't know about saving himself for another payday, but I will say that it was an odd move to be like, hey, remember all the problems that I had last year? They weren't my fault.
Yeah,
That's
for real.
a little bit of a cock move, if you ask me.
Roach, our boy Roach, finally in the stream. I saw him jump in a little earlier. He says Steven Souza also blamed how they managed him, and that's what caused his postseason struggles.
Well, Dave looked over at him in the 7th inning of the championship series and was like, when did you get here?
It's like, oh shit, you're here?
Souza's here? Oh, we're in trouble.
So, Dave, now we got to get Dave Luna's point. Are we throwing any batteries at Scherzer? I think Scherzer is going to get some good shit when he comes to L.A. in June. I think the Mets, if there's a season, knock on desk. The Mets come to L.A. at the first weekend of June. They're here for 4 games. So if it's a 4-game series, there's a good chance Max is pitching one of those games. If not, he's a coward. Or he's probably on the injured list because, he's old.
Me too.
But, yeah, I think with saying something that stupid, he's going to earn him. He earned himself a course of booze. No batteries, but a course of booze. And, if it happens to be a baseball giveaway night, you might get 1 or 2. Thrown on the field.
That's why they don't give away baseballs anymore.
I know,
people
right?
chuck them at people. Eric noticed my haircut. He likes my haircut because my barber.
I was waiting for you to do that
Did a good
earlier.
job.
Usually, when you get your, oh my God, dude, it's so bad.
It's so mullety.
It's triple mullety now.
It's triple mullety right now.
Hey, here's your Netflix and Chill weekly update that we haven't done in a while. The hair though locked you in.
Tank job. Oh.
No, I locked you in on
too.
defense, man.
You see that glove?
You got that Josh Donaldson hair going now.
I got the Brett Lowry face and the Josh Donaldson hair.
Kid made some plays last week. Were you how many were you surprised at?
Every last one of them.
Yeah.
Didn't make one error except for the throws.
Yeah, the
But
throw. Well,
picking,
one of the throws,
turning.
She locked herself up. That was easy.
True. And then the other one, it was like wet, and I was just like,
oh yeah, the one you threw like 40 feet to the left. But still, this guy locked in for justice at third base, and it's all because look good, play good with
the hair.
With the Cletus cut. You go in there and tell him,
Cletus.
Hey, Barbara, I reckon I need myself a trim.
Yeah, I said, all the white trash people that you see in the world, please make me one of them. And he says, all right, man, I got you. Big Dodger fan, that guy.
He got big dreams, huh?
Yep.
Big dreams. Have we talked about Freddie Freeman in this crap yet, like in the offseason?
We did. We said something about his teeth.
No. I mean, I know we mentioned him today, and somebody brought him up earlier in the chat. I started by doing research. I mean, I opened up like 2 different tabs of Baseball Reference. And one of them had Corey Seager, the other one had Freddie Freeman, and I was like, "Oh my God, we would win the offseason if we signed this dude. If we somehow find a way to steal Freddie Freeman from the Bravos." Woo!
He'll also be significantly less money.
32, plays first base, but statistically better. He stays on the field.
He should hold up.
Because he's not a big swing kind of dude. And it's just one of the better pure hitters in baseball. So let's make that happen. And then you move old broken elbow, old torn UCL Muncy over to second base. Boom, you got yourself a team. Shoot Gavin off into the moon.
Send him.
But I would love to see that happen. Another one I was thinking about today, it's like, hey, you know what? If they don't do that, why not give Anthony Rizzo a shot? It's not the best, but you're replacing a left-handed bat.
Old thumb boy over there at first.
There's going to be a DH. You can kind of play around a little bit with that. Dude still gets on base like a mofo. He still gets hit, which adds to the on base. I don't know, man. Like, I think they could do better. I think they need pitching before anything.
Yeah.
But Jason says no thanks to Rizzo. DJ Jesse bringing it up at the same time. Would you consider Rizzo? I would consider Anthony Rizzo. Why not? I'd take him. Pat Dwyer bringing up Albert Pujols. I think I would go Anthony Rizzo over Pujols.
Oh, yeah. If those are the 2 you're going with,
I'd go Yasiel Puig over Steven Souza.
If Souza's back on this team next year, I think I'm just going to have to not speak into a microphone for the year.
Don't speak, you know just
Don't
what
speak.
you're Sousa. Thank you.
James Brown is in the house.
James Brown.
He announced it. He said James Brown is in the house.
Yeah.
I wasn't saying that. He said that.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
how
you
I enter rooms.
for clearing that.
Brooke Smith is here. That's how I say it.
It is I.
Like, okay.
Jose Rod points out that Anthony Rizzo did fall off a cliff. He didn't have a great time over there in New York, but nobody really does. I mean, imagine going to New York to work. Oof. Oof.
No, I mean, you got to take the train there. It's stupid.
Ice Queen says, I feel good. Because James Brown is in the
I
house.
get it. James Brown's here, yeah.
Yep.
I like it.
And moving on, our final note of the evening, the other big news around Dodgers Nation after decades of oversight, there was a wrong that was finally righted. A big glaring omission has been corrected. Gil Hodges is a Hall of Famer. He is part of the National Baseball Hall of Fame, and we're gonna do that. And we're gonna I guess that because it's a money move. The MLB Hall of Fame Golden Days Era Committee voted in the late great former All-Star and two-time World Series champ with your Dodgers, once with Brooklyn in 55 team, the only team that ever won in Brooklyn, of course, and your 59 Dodgers. So the first two Dodgers championships, he played a big role in those. So we decided, what better way to talk about Gil Hodges than go to our guy, our good friend, Mark Langill, Dodgers team historian. We chatted with him a little bit earlier today about just some good Gil stories. And it's still a long version, but here's a short version of what happened. We'll have the full interview on our YouTube probably tomorrow or something like that. But really cool stuff with Mark. And let's go ahead and listen to some of that sweet, roll that beautiful bean footage. Decades of oversight, and one guy that we knew knows the most about Gil, most about the Dodgers. Mark, thank you for joining us. Mark Langill, Dodgers team historian, in the house via Zoom.
Guys, it's a pleasure to be with you, and what a wonderful premise to be able to celebrate finally the induction and the inclusion of pretty much the last piece of the puzzle to that Boys of Summer lineup. Gil Hodges joining the rest of the great players, and most of them had nicknames, Duke and Campy and Pee-wee and Jackie. And now Duke can take his place alongside those guys at Cooperstown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. I mean, so many just legendary figures in baseball, not only in baseball, but focusing in on the Dodgers franchise. I mean, these are people still buy jerseys and artwork with these players on it, and not that many people are going to know about this this Gil Hodges character, unfortunately. So that's why we wanted you here. We want you to help. I mean, you're educating us. Obviously, we're not all that long in the tooth ourselves, but maybe not so much him. Me, I'm broken and old, but let the people know, let the younger generation know why Gil Hodges is and was so important to this franchise.
Well, just imagine after the war, the Brooklyn Dodgers had a core of great players. And from 1947 to 1956, it seemed they were always in contention. And you go around the lineup and you had so many famous players. And some of them were colorful and some of them were known for being a pioneer as far as civil rights, as far as Jackie Robinson and Roy Campanella breaking the color barrier. And Duke Snider had a colorful nickname and a left-handed swing, and he had sort of an outgoing personality. And Duke Snider was kind of like The Rock, very quiet in terms of, not the actor for young people, but in terms of, just this solid guy. And there just wasn't that much excitement to him except this quiet tower of strength. And he originally was a catcher, and when Campanella comes along, Hodges basically moves and switches positions. And Leo DeRocher wrote in his book, he went from being a catcher to 2 days later being the best first baseman since Dolph Camilli that he had seen. He had giant hands. Pee Wee Reese said that he wore a glove just out of courtesy, but he probably could have played first base without a glove. And this gentle giant who had been a decorated soldier in the war came back and really established himself in Brooklyn. He was the first Brooklyn player to hit 40 homers in one season. He was an 8-time All-Star. He's the only Brooklyn Dodger in history to hit 4 home runs in a game. That was August the 31st, 1950 against the Boston Braves at Ebbets Field. But think about all the other ball players who overshadowed him. And the thing that really hurt Gil was he's known for a player, and when he retired, he had the most home runs of any National League right-handed player in history. Willie Mays later surpassed him, but that was the type of career that he had, as far as just unspectacular but super solid, always there, and just a great player. Then he becomes a manager and wins the World Series with the Miracle Mets, 100-1 shots in spring training, and pulls off the miracle. But then spring training 1972, he passes away of a heart attack 2 days shy of his 48th birthday. And I think that's really key, because if you look at the other Hall of Fame balloting, Don Drysdale doesn't get in until his 10th try. Mm-hmm. Duke Snider doesn't get in until like his 11th try. But what do those two have in common? They're broadcasters. You see them every day. And right. When Gil Hodges passes away, it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. And in 1973, if you looked at the Hall of Fame balloting, Gil Hodges was way up here and Snider is way down there. And just kind of like a teeter-totter, it gradually shifts. And it just gets pushed back. Pee Wee Reese gets elected by the Veterans Committee. And so I think at some point with the electorate, they're saying, well, how many Brooklyn Dodgers are you going to put there? You know, because there are other teams in the league, you know. And I think that hurt also, because not only did he pass away, but the volume of Dodgers that were already in the Hall of Fame, it took a while for people to truly appreciate. And then here's the amazing thing. He should have been in 30 years ago. He missed it by one vote of the Veterans Committee, and he had that vote, but Roy Campanella was in the hospital and they wouldn't take his proxy. And so technically he'd already been voted in 30 years ago if you did a show of hands, but they got technical and said, no, Campy has to be here for the meeting. There was always this legend with Earl Weaver, the former Baltimore Orioles manager who went up against Hodges in that World Series in 1969, that there was some bad blood on the part of Earl Weaver, because there was a famous play in which Cleon Jones is supposedly hit by a pitch, and Lou DeMuro, the umpire, doesn't react, and he just thinks it's a bad pitch, and Gil Hodges slowly comes to the umpire at home plate with a baseball, and Earl Weaver was always convinced that Hodges had switched balls, and sure enough, 20 years later, Earl Weaver's on the Veterans Committee, and you don't know if that had a factor in, but all those years that he came so close, he was always deserving. And I think that the best way it was summarized by Vin Scully, one time he was in the booth and he just had this blank look on his face and he said, I have no idea why Gil Hodges is not in the Hall of Fame. And so yesterday, when they actually announced that he was there, we're coming up on the 50th anniversary of Gil's passing. And it's just such a wonderful opportunity for the family to enjoy this, because Mrs. Hodges, Joan Hodges, the widow, still lives in the same house on Bedford Avenue. She's like 93 years old. Gil Jr. has been a great torchbearer for his father's legacy. And everybody who knew Gil just was talking about what a wonderful man he was. And then there was always confusion about the voting too. Are we voting him in as a player? Do we add the Hall of Fame consideration because of what he did with the Miracle Mets? And then the other thing about so many other teams, the Pirates, hey, we had Bill Mazeroski, the Phillies, we've got Richie Ashburn. It's not the Dodgers and Yankees. And I think if you look at the balloting yesterday, there's a pitcher named Allie Reynolds for the Yankees. Great career, so many championships. And it might be the same thing with Allie Reynolds. How many Yankees are you going to put in the Hall of Fame? But finally, Gil Hodges can join that lineup, that Boys of Summer lineup that really was so beloved to that fan base of the Dodgers after the war. And it was always wait till next year. Mm-hmm. Wait till next year. They'd always lose the World Series, it seemed, to the Yankees. 47, 49, 52, 53. Then finally they win it in 55. I think the greatest compliment to Gil Hodges was 1952, when they hadn't won the World Series yet. He goes 0 for 21 in the World Series. And basically there's a famous moment in a Brooklyn church where the pastor says, it's too hot for a sermon. Just go home and pray for Gil Hodges. And Hodges later said that he got hundreds of messages and they were all positive. And Clem Labine said Brooklyn fans were amazing because the one player they never booed was Gil Hodges. And Tom Seaver had talked about the influence of him as a manager on his career, saying Gil Hodges was like a second father to him. So that's really how people felt about him. Not just a great ball player, but just a great person as well.
Yeah, if you could get New York fans on your side when you're struggling, then you know that you've done
When
something.
does that happen?
Yeah, you've been living right your whole life or something. I don't know.
I mean, we saw I think it was over the weekend or just before the weekend, you really get the highest of praise from, Vincent Scully penning on the internet a letter, via MLB.com. And you talked about it. It's not so much about the stats, and sure, the stats are there to back up why this guy deserves to be in the Hall of Fame and finally, rightfully, will be enshrined. But Vin talks about just the character of the man, and the Hall of Fame isn't just about the numbers. It's not just about the stats. It's about the legacy that they're leaving behind. The Miracle Mets. I mean, we've had lesser people in the Hall of Fame with a bloody sock is in the Hall of Fame. Yep. Not the player, but I don't know. I guess on the Vinny part of it, like you're saying, if Vinny is a type of guy who's backing up this guy, I think they finally got it right.
They did. And that's the irony as far as 30 years ago, he got in. And just think about, I really think there's a part of the Hall of Fame balloting where you could probably, yesterday, you could have pulled names out of a hat. And in a way, some people would have thought that was fair, because how do you decide at this point who's better? It's like apples and oranges. What if you said, okay, broadcasters, Bob Prince, Russ Hodges, Harry Callis? If you started picking out famous broadcasters and said, who's better? It's the same thing when you get to this point with the Hall of Famers. So many were so close. Mm-hmm. And you look at a guy like Wills, it doesn't diminish his career because of his vote total yesterday. And we could have had a whole different conversation if one vote swung, and Richie Allen could have been in the Hall of Fame, and Gil Hodges could have been one vote short. Mm-hmm. And so just like those previous guys that I talked about, as far as them having to wait, it took a while for Don Sutton to get in. It takes a while for certain guys to get in. I remember Jim Rice of the Red Sox was no shoe-in, but then he finally gets in. And then it's like a Supreme Court justice. You're in for life. You're a Hall of Famer. That's it. They don't revisit the vote. And now all of a sudden Gil Hodges is a Hall of Famer, but nothing's changed. The credentials didn't change. How people felt about him didn't change. It's just nice that the family is going to be able to celebrate this great honor while they're still around to be able to enjoy it. And to remind the younger fans, just who Gil Hodges was, just how other baseball fans will be able to rediscover the careers of Buck O'Neill or Jim Cott or Tony Oliva. There's a reason that these guys were elected to the Hall of Fame, and it's an opportunity to revisit and celebrate their careers as well.
Yeah, I think you talked about it already a little bit, Mark, but I mean, you talk about younger fans maybe not necessarily knowing who Gil Hodges is or anything like that, but he obviously, the generation he was coming up with, there's so many big names that he was obviously surrounded with the entire time. And you said it yourself, like, he was just always there. He was consistently good. I mean, he wasn't going to put numbers up that was like, that's an obvious Hall of Famer. Everybody vote for that guy right now. But I think it's really cool that it's been brought to light, and now he kind of gets that recognition that he more than deserves. And, better late than never, I guess we can always say. The Hall of Fame, they've made their fair share of mistakes over the years, but it is what it is. We're just happy to have him in there now.
I think there are two things that are important too when fans rediscover and look at these careers, because, for example, Buck O'Neill, you really need to, first of all, I would put an asterisk for the Hall of Fame for any ball player that played before 1947, because obviously you didn't have integration yet. So fans need to remember what it was like back in 46, 47, and when guys like Jackie and Don Newcomb and Roy Campanella came along. It wasn't exactly, okay, now it's time to play. Look at everything around that you have to deal with. It's not the level playing field. Right. And in the case of Hodges, it's interesting to note, because he makes his debut in 1943 with a couple games, and then he goes into the Marines. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing to revisit as far as what military service at that point can do to somebody's career. Mm-hmm. Because 1944, 1945, he's overseas and he's fighting with the Marines. And you've got to wonder, he was known as this gentle giant, but you have to wonder what that type of battle, getting the Bronze Star and the Battle of Okinawa and everything like that, just what mental baggage that he carried when he came back to Ebbets Field, because one of the reasons, probably that he only lives to the age that he did, 47, was the stress and a 4-pack a day smoker. And, that's a big difference, because when he passes away, Jackie Robinson said, I thought I was going to be the first to go. And then Jackie goes, a few months later in 1972. Just imagine all the stress that he had integrating the game. So you can't just flip over the trading cards of a Jackie Robinson or a Gil Hodges and say, okay, these are the stats. You also have to look at the circumstances and rediscover what some of these ball players had to deal with at certain points in our country's history.
Mark, we appreciate the time as always. You're one of our favorites to not talk to listen to.
Listen. We like to listen, Mark.
You make our jobs easier because you know all the good stuff.
Well, it's a pleasure to be on with you guys. And as I say, it's going to be a fun summer next year, celebrating the career and all the accomplishments of Gil Hodges. It'll be great to see all those Dodger number 14 jerseys, I'm sure. And we're looking forward to having the Hodges family this summer and be able to celebrate something that they've been waiting so long for.
Absolutely. Mark Langill, Dodgers team historian, thanks again.
Take care. Thanks, guys, and happy holidays.
Importantly,
we
won't have to see any Kike jerseys anymore. I think that's what that means, right? Legally, you're not allowed to wear it.
Yeah, officially, Kike Hernandez will be the last player to ever wear the number 14 for the Dodgers franchise. That number should go up in the rafters at some point.
Kike's jersey is going to hang in the rafters forever, guys.
That number 14 with a Hodges and a bro under it, because, it's going to be another Brooklyn.
Bro Hodges.
Yeah. But there's more good stuff with Mark. Again, we love Mark. Appreciate the comments, sharing the love for Mark Langill. It's been a while since we've had him on, but it's always a fantastic time. The dude literally just knows everything about the Dodgers. We went to Gary and I went to Dodger Stadium with him about a month and a half, 2 months ago, walking around. Like, it was just Mark and I pretty much walking around the stadium while Gary's working, collecting like photographs all around the stadium. I think he's doing a hit. I don't know, but
exposed.
We're walking by. You know how Mark is. He looks at something and he's like, "Oh yeah, this was the opening day ticket from the 1974 season, and this was this. Oh, they used to have this over at a different part." If you guys could ever find a way to get a Dodger Stadium tour with Mark Langill, you will never have a better experience.
If you ever find a way to talk to Mark Langill just on a daily basis, if you one thing that he did very early on when we met him, he's like, "Who's a player that you like a lot?" And we were like, "I don't know, Andre either." And he's like, "Here's the date of his first hit. Here's the pitcher it was off of. It was a double down the right, whatever it was. I don't even remember what it was." And I was just like, "How do you just know that?
Dude is a machine.
Where do you pull that from?" And he's happy. He's so happy about it. He loves it so much.
And as great as Mark is, I am excited that a lot of folks. I mean, myself, I did not know as much about Gil Hodges before the start of the weekend that I do now. And now, talking to Mark earlier today, I think fans are going to really be. This has been a wasted part of the Dodgers' legacy over years. I mean, we've heard for all of our lives about these type of about Campy, about Jackie, about Duke, about Pee Wee Reese, but there's always been this forgotten part of that era, of that team.
Hodges.
Gil Hodges, man, dude was a beast. And you look up, they had like a 10-year stretch where he was an animal. He'd be getting paid Corey money right now.
He'd definitely be getting paid Corey money
with these kind of numbers the dude put up. So congrats to the Hodges family, well deserved, and it's gonna be awesome to see that happening. We haven't had a good ceremony since the last ceremony we had at Dodger Stadium. All-Star game there next year also. Knock on desk.
As long as the world doesn't get closed again and baseball doesn't shut down for life. Imagine that. A pandemic shuts us down and we don't get an All-Star game, and then a lockout shuts us down and we don't get an All-Star game. That'd be interesting. By which I mean that would suck.
Wait till next year, guys. But that's about it. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. If you want to subscribe to us on the internet, that would be cool. We are at DodgersNation.com. There's things there that happen that are Dodgers related sometimes. It's a tough off season. Still click. We need it to survive. Subscribe to us on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, Pandora, everywhere your podcasts are available for free. Go there, click on those. Leave a nice review. Leave a 78-star review. We'll appreciate that. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/DodgersNationTV. Another big thing that would help us out. A whole bunch.
Big time. Guys, I'm at BrookMe3. This guy is at RealFRG. We're both on Instagram and Twitter. We're at Dodgers Nation on Instagram and Twitter as well. Stay with us all off season long while baseball tries to figure its SHIT out. Until then, thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for your question. Thank you for comments. We appreciate the hell out of all you. Go drink eggnog.
Oh.
Shalom.
Eggnog
I don't know.
sucks.
Happy holidays.